Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and another day, another hack. Hackers have drained 58.2 Bitcoin worth $7 million from whatever this is. Let's see what it's called. Odin.fun. Sophisticated liquidity manipulation exploit that is being linked to China-based hacker groups. And guess what they sent out? Crypto. They sent the crypto. This is why I'm partnered with iTrustCapital. I slept fine last night because I know that with the closed loop system at iTrustCapital, I can send dollars or crypto in, but crypto can't be sent out. Only dollars. So why waste your time with that? The hackers have no business wasting their time with that. They got too many easy targets. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Plus, I get the institutional grade custody for free. I get a 1% trading fee, and that's it. It's awesome. They have 3 different institutional custodians: Fireblocks, Coinbase Prime, and Fidelity Digital Assets. You couldn't ask for anything better. You can go to iTrustCapital.com/XRP Army. They even have a promo code. If you click on that, you can use XRP6 and it will get you a $100 funding bonus if you don't have an account. And you can also open IRAs. I like the Roth IRA. That is the way to go. It's the ultimate plan. Plus, they've got premium custody accounts, which are the regular accounts that you can send your XRP into now. Okay, go to I can't remember if I said it, iTrustCapital.com/XRP Army to get to that page and sign up. Okay, this market is looking like it wants to hum. We've had Ethereum has been surging. I think Ethereum crossed its all-time high. Now, what we want to talk about, first of all, we'll show you this. Just in over 116 billion added to the crypto market cap in the past 24 hours, with Ethereum leading the way. Now, also on Google Trends, altcoins are surging. What is an altcoin? Best altcoins to buy are spiking on Google Trends. Here's how it has worked ever since I got into this. Phase 1, Bitcoin. When I first got into this, you couldn't buy anything without going through Bitcoin first. And I've always felt like that was by design. Later, of course, we had the Ethereum free pass. So Bitcoin and Ethereum have gotten to share this elite status that they didn't earn. It was just given to them, as we know. So the money would flow, has always gone into Bitcoin, and then maybe it sifts down to Ethereum, and then it starts going into the large cap alts, and then you have AltSeason. This is going to change, folks. You can throw these phrases in the trash once all the Bitcoin and Ethereum's advantages they've had are gone. They've had fake regulatory clarity, which gave them both futures and ETFs all by themselves, while at the same time being treated as media darlings for the last decade. The Clarity Act will be the final nail in the coffin of this free market charade once and for all. The free market still isn't here, but it's coming. Yeah, when this is all over, this you can throw in the trash because it's not gonna work that way anymore. Dom from Easy A is locking in. He's getting it. I think he always got it. There's a concerted effort to discredit XRP happening right now. What are the odds? All these influencers just became super bullish on Link and started bashing XRP. Piece together the puzzle. What do you see? And you see this one guy says Chainlink is like Ripple, but if tech actually worked, oh my, XRP got screwed. I recently took a big position in Link, and then they're trying to do a graphic of XRP, you know, getting destroyed and all this. The biggest and most credible names in crypto. Now, I'm going to make another point, but first of all, I want to show you this. This was called long ago before I played this. I've watched for over a decade from all directions. This is just another operation in the world on XRP. Tim Draper laid it out years ago. The only thing he didn't include is paid social media PR campaigns. I've told you many times, Most of the people in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and now I guess you can include Chainlink, this is a paid PR machine. While for the last decade, they've pointed at the XRP army and said, Ripple's paying those guys, which is not true. I've never been paid a penny by Ripple. I can't speak for other people, but Ripple are no dummies. If they had paid anyone, you would have seen it in major focus in the SEC lawsuit. It would have been a huge scandal. But it wasn't, because nobody's paid by Ripple. And that's the fact, Jack. But what did they do? They point at Ripple. Just like they pointed at Ripple, call it the banker's coin. Meanwhile, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs were working behind the scenes with Ethereum. So this has all been a facade, and it's still a facade. I have a feeling it's going to change soon. But here's what Tim Draper had said, for those of you that never heard it.
And then they all line up and they wrap their arms together and they say, we're not letting this happen. And then it keeps going. And then they say, okay, well, let's sue them. Or let's go get the government.
There's another thing too. They adopt the technology. I think.
No, that's at the end.
They will adopt this technology.
No, this is the last thing they do. No,
yeah, it's after
the press planning. They plant the press stories. They put out lawsuits. They create as much of a fuss as possible. They try to get their government friends involved. And then they go, oh, God, this thing's happened.
Now, he didn't mention it, but one thing that I'll give you an eye-opener here. I believe the reason the XRP army is so powerful, and the reason these people are always scratching their heads and they can't figure it out, is because what they're all a part of a PR machine and have been. And I would include Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. It starts with the VCs getting their allotments or getting their discounts in these tokens, or being early in the case of Bitcoin. And then, or being a disguised whale in the Ethereum ICO. It starts there, but the PR machine works they work this narrative, and they have for the last decade, and they do it in conjunction. And what they do is they all carry the same message, that Bitcoin and Ethereum are these somehow elite things, and then they added Solana. Maybe they're adding Chainlink now, I don't know. But they work in conjunction, and then they have their conferences. They have the big conferences. They only invite a certain set of influencers that are all part of the PR machine. But these influencers, they're propped up. They show you, they present them as if they're these big guys and they've developed all this influence when they're really not. And I can prove it. You don't have to take my word for it. And then they invite them. Who never gets invited to any of those big conferences? The XRP influencers. But the XRP influencers have developed larger followings and get more views than any of them. But you don't have to take my word for it. If you were watching CNBC, you would think Jack Mallers is the biggest thing since sliced bread. This guy is a major Bitcoin influencer. He's huge. But if you look at his YouTube channel, he's got 1.2 million views in total. This big following he supposedly has. Everybody's listening to what the young kid, who happens to be almost like he was handpicked to be a kid with a hoodie for marketing purposes. And then let's look at some others. Swan Bitcoin, this is one of the biggest Bitcoin channels that there is. 50.6 million. They got a decent amount of views. And remember all these they all are on stage at the conferences. They're all covered. CNBC will show you some of these channels, and they'll highlight them, and they're the go-to people, the gurus, the pundits. Okay. Then there's Swan Bitcoin. Here's CoinDesk. How much money has CoinDesk spent on their production value and becoming the go-to news source in crypto for all these years? It's like it's backed by big money for years. But their YouTube channel only has 13.4 million views in total. Let's look at another one. Bankless. These are the Ethereum guys that also have a VC company, by the way. And remember, all these people, they get all the big interviews. They get the Vitalik Buterins, the Mark Cubans, they get the Kathy Woods. Let's look at some others. They get Mark Andreessen. Look at all, they have all these pictures, and I'm sure these guys have had some of these guys. I know they've had Vitalik Buterin on recently, but they get all the big interviews. they've got 27.3 million views. But if you listen to the PR crypto media, you would think these guys are some of the biggest guys that there are. Now let's take someone from the XRP army. We'll just use someone as an example who's from Georgia. We'll use someone who's never spent one penny on marketing. We'll use someone with some of the worst thumbnails in the history of crypto, myself. We'll use someone whose father just said to him one day, hey, why don't you do some of those crypto YouTube videos? And he had to figure out how to record his screen. Someone who's never been paid by Ripple, someone who just had a passion and said, no, this XRP thing's different. We'll take my channel. 94.2 million views. Literally crushing all these people. Now, first of all, I don't want to go to any of their conferences. I don't want to be on stage. I kind of like being in the background. But you won't hear, and it's not just me. You can look at many of the XRP influencers, and their viewership crushes most of these mega pundits that are put out there as being these huge people, and they're not. It's all a PR facade. In the last decade has been a market facade. You have not seen a real market. It's been one big lie. These people, and I put it here, the Bitcoin maxis, and tribalism was invented by the Bitcoin maxis because there's supposed to be nothing but Bitcoin. And everyone else just fights back. But then they step back and they say, oh, well, there's just all this tribalism. No, they started this war, whatever you want to call it. The other digital asset communities just defend themselves. And by the way, this part of the PR machine is to have a few women that are pretty faces.
Hardcore crypto people. So like why?
Let me ask you a question. Why do you think XRP still exists?
Because they have a great marketing team and a lot of money.
Where do you think a lot of money from?
From selling their coin and their ICO, their initial offering, right? I mean,
listen, the XRP army cares as much about their token as the Bitcoin army cares about theirs. It's just that simple.
It has gotten very tribal.
That's from a woman who blocked me because I was telling the truth about all this stuff. And then Mike Novogratz, I think that he probably got bashed in social media so much. And there's also, you remember that clip where he says he bets dimes to donuts. And then the SEC does exactly what he bet dimes to donuts on, which is give Ethereum a free pass. So I think Mike is kind of a reformed guy. But the other thing to take note of, have you ever noticed that they all go on the same podcast? It's like they're all the Bitcoin maxi things, maybe Ethereum things. It's a rotation. They all go on the same, all the heavy hitters, they all go on the same things. Mike Novogratz, see, they're scratching their heads here. They can't figure, it's baffling to them where the XRP army came from, because I believe it's the only crypto community that was not a paid for community. It literally rose from across the world in rural areas and Georgia. If you were a PR firm, trust me, the last guy you're going to pick is someone that talks like I do and comes from Georgia. I even said that to Brad Garlinghouse. The first thing I ever said to him, I said, did you ever think that some guy in Georgia with this accent would be talking about your token or your company? And he said, I'm from Kansas.
XRP, Brad Garlinghouse has done an amazing job of creating, and I asked him a few times, I think, where does this XRP army come from? And he said, I'm not even sure. Like, they care about this thing. I mean, when they went through that lawsuit, this guy, Doug Deaton, what was it, not Doug?
He knows his name.
Who was the guy, Deaton? The lawyer, then he ran for...
John Deaton, yeah.
John Deaton.
Yeah, he was on the show.
That guy was literally tweeting 9 times a day, fighting this case in court. He didn't even know the guys at Ripple originally. This was part of his community, and he thought this was an injustice done to his community. And so I think one of the things that crypto has added to investing in general is the idea that community is valuable, right? Look at Tesla or Palantir. They're stocks. We call them meme stocks from a memic value. It's community. Find me one person in the world that says, I'm an Oracle guy. Right? I'm an Oracle. I'm part of the Oracle army. It doesn't exist. No one's got an Oracle tattoo, even though Oracle's one of the most amazing companies out there. Larry Ellison's the second richest man in the world.
Right.
Equities weren't communities. Right? Crypto brought this idea of community, and it's coming from this breakdown in trust. And therefore, they can be just as passionate about crypto punks, the crypto punk community. Listen, do I think they'll all have the same lasting power as Bitcoin? No. But I've been so freaking wrong on how long some of them have lasted, right? XRP is still the number 3 token. Their people care about it. And when I say care about it, they are choosing to take their hard-earned dollars that they make as a salesperson or as a garbage man or as a chef or as a computer engineer, and they're storing that value in a community, right? In the Bitcoin community, we're storing it on this blockchain that is really guarded by this complex group of miners, right? We store our wealth in this thing, but it's because we're trusting in the community.
Okay, we've got a lot more today. I'm going to cover it in the group. One of the things I'm going to talk about, look, everybody's starting to figure it out, but crypto is not a libertarian movement. This was created by governments, and it was created for a specific purpose. And I'm going to show you another clip and go over that. I got a lot of other stuff too. Go to daixrp.com to join the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below any of these videos, or you can hit subscribe through X. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.